Okay, so I'd like to welcome everyone again for joining this morning. Today's workshop will be on Google Drive and getting familiar with your Google Drive and how to organize your drive. I have some emails that I have to get to. I will get to them today. For those of you that are still hopping on, I have slowly started emailing you the PD certificates. So please give me some time to email each of them. There's a lot of them that have to be generated and emailed to you. You will be able to download them, print them, however you like. They are a PDF file, so you can't edit them in any way. The other thing that I wanted to let you know is that this week will be our last week. On Thursday, I will be providing you with a feedback form in how to better help me prepare for the school year and how we would like to do some of the workshops. I appreciate any feedback for those of you that have sent me some. It's great to hear, how we can improve. It's always nice to have some suggestions. So today I'll walk you through my PowerPoint. I'll also show you my Google Drive and how I have it set up. And then again, if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to unmute yourself, type it in the chat. However it is that, you need to communicate. And we're going to get started. I want to be respectful of your time. So let me start sharing my screen. Okay. WebEx has updated its software. So I noticed that it's different. Before, as the host, I used to be on a separate window. I'm now part of everybody's window. So there's some changes to the platform. So I'm going to go see if I can research what were some of the updates, and then I'll let you know as well. So today we're going to start with Google Drive, and I kind of tried to make it in a simplified version to help you understand how to use it and how to really organize your Google Drive. Okay, let me start here. Okay, so I wanted to give you some reasons why I use Google Drive. Like I've said in the past, I like to use Google because it keeps everything in one location. And there's certain things that you can do with Google, not having to worry about using a username or a password, the accessibility to access it from anywhere, from any computer, anywhere in the world. So there's some of the things that you can do with Google that you can't do with PowerPoint or Microsoft Word unless you're saving it to a USB, right? So I wanted to give you some of the reasons why I love Google Drive. So obviously it's unlimited accessibility and lots of storage. I think Google gives you about 15 gigabytes of storage, which is a lot. Organization. I organize my drive with folders and subfolders, and I'll explain to you what the difference is between a folder and a subfolder. I can share folders and files with anyone. I can integrate it with other apps, ability to create docs and spreadsheets from anywhere, and its autosave feature, which is great because sometimes we forget or we lose power on our computer or something happens. I hope the storm holds off and we don't lose power so that we can get through the workshop. So I wanted to make sure hopefully everything goes well. And so if something happens with the meeting, I just want to let you know ahead of time that hopefully nothing happens because of the storm. So what is Google Drive and its anatomy? If you're unfamiliar with Google Drive or know little about Google Drive, I wanted to give you information about what Google Drive is and its different components, right? So whenever you open up your drive, these are the things that you will always find. So number one would be here. yes, it's better to open your Google Drive with your school account if you're using school things. You can have both a personal Gmail account and the school one. But anything that I do related to school, I always use my work email. So when you're opening up your Google Drive, you will see this here, which is where you can create and organize anything in your Google Drive. Then you have this section here. This is where it will list any of your folders, your files. You'll also have a search bar at the top for you to be able to look for documents or folders quickly and easily. For number 3 here in this section, this is where it will give you all the details. You can actually find out any activity that has happened in a specific document or folder, like anyone that was the folder was shared with, who logged in the folder, who edited the folder, if they have edit access. So it will really give you a detailed description of anything that has happened with that document or folder. And then here is where you can actually share with Google.
Still have a question going back to point 1. I noticed as you have there, it says Drive, then it has View, then it has My Drive. And as I'm looking at mine has Drive, and it has Priority, My Drive. How can we rearrange what's under number 1 so it's in that order? Because right now mine isn't in that particular order.
Okay, so when I get to My Drive, I'll show you how to manipulate.
All right, thank you.
Folders. No problem. Okay, so just make sure I'm not missing any questions. So Gustavo, yes, you can have as many Google Drives as you want, actually. So I have, right now I have 2. I have one for my personal things and I have one for school. So I have a personal email account that I use for personal things outside of the school, and anything that I do outside of the school, I will save in my personal Google Drive. So it's up to you. You can actually, if you have more than one Gmail account, then you can have as many Google Drive accounts as you need. Okay, how to create, upload, and organize your files. So I really wanted to explain to you what each of the icons is, okay? Again, when you come over here, if you click on New, this is where you would be able to create a new file, upload a file to your Google Drive, create a folder. This is where you could do all of that here. If you click the More button, this will give you access to other apps in your Google Drive. And then here, whenever you, just to explain these buttons a little bit more. So if you have a folder that has a little person on it, or a document that has that, that means that you actually shared that folder or document with someone. So whenever you have any document or folder that is shared with someone, this will always appear there. Okay, this is the folder icon. Okay, here is
create, upload, and
let me just make sure everyone is muted. Okay. This is like if you have any incoming folders, or you want to add or find folders that were shared with you. So your recent, if you are looking for something that you just started or you just recently worked on, the quickest way sometimes to find it is click recent, and it will open up your most recent document that you have edited or opened. Your starred items are any items that you star that are most important to you, that you want to find really, really quickly because they're really important. So if there's a specific file or folder that you want to access really quickly without having to search for it, I would star that folder or document because it will be right there in your starred. This is your trash. If you want to delete anything, any of your items or folders that you have deleted will end up in your trash. Your files, folders, and search. So this is where you would go whenever you want to search for a specific document or file that you have in your drive. Okay, here is your search. When you click on advanced search, and I'll show you this when I go in my drive. When you go on the advanced search, you can actually filter by looking for specific types of documents. Let's say you're looking for Google Form documents, then you would put that in this advanced search filter. If you're looking for documents from a specific person, you know, like for example, I sent you a document I shared with you in your Google Drive, you can actually put my name. It will search for any document that I have shared with you quickly, right? So you have the advanced filter options that allow you to really search for a document quickly. You can get a link from a specific document, you can share it, you can preview. So this is a nice option if you don't want to fully open up the document and you weren't sure if that's the document that you want. You can just hit preview and you can actually preview the file without actually opening it. If you want to put it into the trash, you would just click the document that you want to delete and then click the trash here. And here is the time that it was last modified. It will give you that information. Whenever it's blue, that means that the file is the file that you selected or folder. Okay? And you can always have these three buttons here, which is your more option. So I just ask that everybody please mute themselves because then I am getting some feedback. When I'm in the presenter mode, I can't go and mute unless I go through everybody. So here are some, again, I wanted to explain some of the things that you can do when you go to the settings and you can see details and the activities that you have for a specific file or a folder. So this is like the thumbnail view, how you decide to view your Google Drive. You can actually sort documents in your Google Drive in alphabetical order from A to Z or from Z to A. You can show high details. This is where the details of a selected file. So here it will name who you shared it with, who's on the document, and here it will tell you all the activity for a specific file. Right here, you'll usually see your name. These are your apps. This is if you want to get any notifications, you can click here to get notifications. This is where you would click to share anything off of your drive. And then this is where you have your account. Your picture would be here. All right, so how to organize your folders and files in your drive. So moving and adding files in Google Drive is different than making a copy of a file. So a copy is static and does not update if the original file is modified. So when you move or add a file to a new location, it is a live document that is always the latest version. So if you happen to make a copy of anything in your Google Drive, the original, whatever you do to your copy, does not modify the original. So if you copy a file, all it does is create a copy. changes made to the copy are not reflected in the original. So this is why sometimes I say to make a copy of a file if you want to keep the original in its state so that you can always come back and modify or add. So that is an option that you have. To move files and folders, you can actually move a file or folder from one location in the drive to a different location. The file will no longer be viewable in the original location. So if you move the file from one folder to another folder in your Google Drive, wherever it was before, you're not going to see it anymore. You're only going to see it in the new location. You can actually add files and folders to multiple folders in your drive. So you can add these items to multiple folders in your drive. Please note that deleting a file will remove it from all folders and not just the folder you deleted it in. So if you have a file that is in multiple locations, if you delete it, it will delete all of them. So I wanted to show you how to move your folders. Okay. So if you change something on the original doc, will it update on your copy? No, it shouldn't update on your copy. All the changes will stay in the original, because then you're also, you made a copy of that first file. So if you would want to make a copy of the original file again, then you would need to make another copy. So the fastest way to move a file is by right-clicking on a file or folder in the Google Drive view. So what this does is it opens up a menu, which you see here. So this is an image from my Google Drive. And if I click on a file that I want to move, I right-click, I click on Move To, and then I pick to where it is. So this will open up where it says My Drive, and then you will pick the folder that you want to move the file to. So that's like the quickest way for you to actually move your file. So you can, sorry. So you can also move an open file. Click on the file in the menu bar and then click on Move To and click on Move This Item. Choose the new location and click on Move Here. So another way, let's say you are working on a document, whether it's a Google Slide or a Google Doc. If you want to you can actually move the document to a different location from the actual document as well. So you would just click here, File, Move, and then again, you're going to get the pop-up where it will ask you where you would like to move the file to. And then you just click on that folder. So this is how to add a file to multiple locations. Just give me 1 second. All right. So adding a file to multiple locations. So this is the quickest and easiest way if you want to add a file to multiple locations. The quickest way for you to do that is to add, you can add the folders to multiple locations, but not as quickly as adding a file. So adding folders is a little bit more complicated than just adding a file. So what you want to do is you want to highlight the file by clicking on it in the Google Drive view. Click on the Shift key and the Z key on your keyboard at the same time. This will open the add menu and choose a location and click add here. So that's the quickest way for you to add a file to multiple locations. So if you just click the Shift Z, which is the shortcut, and you'll get the pop-up, and then which is this here, and then you can pick where it is that you would like to add your file to. And then if you want to add it to another location other than the one that you just added it to, you would just do Shift Z. And again, it will take you to the pop-up, and you would pick where it is that you would like to add the file to. Okay. Your file or folder details. So this is where you can go to find out details about your folder or your files. So at the top, hold on a second. In my Google Drive, my list is different. I am trying to access what's on the list and it is not letting me. I went to settings as well. I'm having some issues. Okay, so let's get through the presentation, Yolanda, and then maybe we can address, because sometimes when I show you my Google Drive, maybe these, I'll be able to answer some of those questions. So let me get through the presentation and then I'll address the questions.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just wanted you to send you that because, you know, I really wanted to make some changes and I really wanted to get the value of doing this. So I appreciate it because I'm looking at this and hearing what you're saying and it's just not letting me do half of it. So thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so are you not seeing my screen right now?
No, I am seeing your screen.
Somebody just asked if I could share my screen again. So are you not? I was just wanting to make sure that you are able to see my screen that I'm sharing. Is everyone able to see?
Yes.
Yes, I can see it. Yes, yes.
Okay. So if you're not able to see, you might need to exit and come back into the meeting. Okay, so here's your file or folder details. So whenever you click on a file, okay, you can click this little icon here, and this is where it will give you all the details about your file or your folder. And this is always at the top of, near the top of your screen, okay? It's at the top right of the Google Drive. In order to view any activity in certain folders, files, and get more information about specific folders or files. If a folder or file is located in multiple locations, you will see this under location. You can click on the X in order to delete from a certain location without deleting the file from all the locations. So this is where you would go if you want to quickly delete a specific file from of any folder that you have if it's in multiple folders. Okay, so here how I organize my Google Drive, okay? So I wanted to give you a visual of how to really organize your Google Drive, right? So the nice thing about it is that you can color code your folders, and I like to color code my folders. I usually color code my folders and leave my subfolders gray. So when you go and change your colors for your folders, you can just right click. And when you do change color, these are the only options that they give you for colors. So it's not that many, but it's quite a few that they give you. So you can pick from any one of these colors to update your color of the folder. If you want to rename your folder, like let's say you have a folder, you named it, but now you kind of like want to condense your folders and you want to have a main folder and then subfolders in that folder, right? So you can go back and rename a folder that was already named before. So again, you would right click on rename, and then you can now, since we have the emoji keyboard, you can actually add images to your file folder names. Okay, so like here, here's an example. There's a newspaper, and then there's file name is newsletters, and then make sure you click OK every time you modify any of your headings or names or anything that you add to your folders to make sure that it's being saved. And then this is what it looks like. So I'll show you my drive at the end. This is an example of what your Google Drive folders would look like if you decide to add any emojis to your names of your folders. So just another way of organizing your folders. You don't have to do that. At the end of the day, you have to organize your drive in a way that works best for you and that it's easy for you to really find your documents in a quick and efficient way for you. So here is so here's an image of my Google Drive and how I kind of set up the folders. I eventually want to go back and kind of condense this a little bit more, but for the time being, this is some of the things that I have done to my Google Drive. I have added colors, I have added emojis to some of my folder names. So as you can see, here are some of my folders that are shared with other people. They have a little person on it, okay? And like I showed you these images before, here is where I would go to see any of the activity that I have done in any of the folders or files. Here is the storage that I have used up so far. As you can see, I have only 1.6 gigabytes used. Google actually gives you 15. That means you have a ton of storage. And I actually think that if you are saving any Google Docs or Google Sheets or forms, anything that is Google related, it actually does not take up any of your Google space. So only when you upload a document that is not Google related, so like a Microsoft Word document, a PowerPoint presentation, or a PDF, those are what accounts towards your Google storage. So just keep that in mind when you are doing anything related to Google, that if it's Google related, it actually does not take up your storage. Okay, so sometimes, so I just got a question. Sometimes the internet is down. How do you access your, have access to your files on Google Drive? So I have my Google Drive app on my phone. So I have a folder in my phone with all of my Google apps. So I can access my Google apps from my phone at any time that I want. So if there's something that I want to look for, then I can access it from my phone. It'll be harder to share with my students, but I can actually access even Google Classroom from my phone, and I can upload a document right from my phone if I wanted to. So anyone that has a smartphone, I would recommend. These are all free apps. I have everything on my phone, so I can easily access it there. Let's say I want to post something, even to the other day, I posted something to the Google Classroom about a free document that you can download. I did it right from my phone without even opening up my computer. So just the accessibility of being able to access the Google documents or Google Drive from anywhere is great. So I like to have it on my phone. I like to be able to access it anywhere. So it's totally up to you. But I like to be able to have it on my phone as well, because even when a student submits an assignment during the spring, I would get an alert on my phone letting me know that the student submitted an assignment in Google Classroom, and I can easily go check it there. So just another way for you to have alerts, because sometimes we are not always on our computer or are not near our computer. So the fact that I get alerts on my phone when the students were in the classroom or doing something for the classroom was, a nice way to kind of notify me to get back to them as well. So I'll actually show you a live view of my Google Drive later on. So the Google Drives apps that I currently have on my phone. So I have Google Classroom, Google Slides, Google Docs, and Google Sheets, and the Google Drive. So I have 5 actual apps that I have downloaded onto my phone, and they're all free. Okay. So I can actually, if you need me to, can type it in the chat so that everyone can see. So yes. So sometimes I would actually use the Wi-Fi from my phone whenever the service in the building went down. I would just use my phone as a hotspot and actually used my internet. I mean, it depends on whether you have unlimited or not. But I mean, fortunately, some providers have great services, and I do, sometimes I would get the hotspot off of my phone to be able to use the internet. But these are the apps that I have. So it's the Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Classroom, and Google Slides. So if you have these apps on your phone, you can actually also edit the documents from your actual phone as well. So to personalize your layout in your Google Drive, you can actually do this. There's 2 ways you can have your layout. You can have it via grid view, list view, right? Those are your 2 options. And then you have a density option, which is you can have comfortable, cozy, or compact. And then the color code folders for easy reference. And this can all be found in your settings. I'll show you when I'm in my Google Drive. The view choices, the feature is located in the top right, while the density choices are found in the settings. To pick a color for your folder, simply right-click on the folder and select a different color. All right, so here's an important feature, especially when you're going to share files with someone, right? You might want to control how you share your folders and how much access you give to people when you're sharing your folders. So when you want collaboration is great, right? And being able to share is awesome. So depending on how much you want to share and how much you want someone to collaborate in your document will determine on how you will share your files or your folders, okay? So simply, all you have to do is simply select the file or folder you want to share. And on the top right-hand corner, you will choose between getting a shareable link to the item or inviting others to have access to the item. So just make sure to specify user permissions to view, to edit, or to comment, right? If you allow people to view your folder or file, then they can only view. They can print, right? But they won't be able to edit. If you want to actually have another teacher help you edit a file and work on a file or a folder with you, then they will be able to edit anything in that folder or file if you click this edit option. So that person can add to the file, that person can delete things from a file. So edit lets that person do everything, as if you will still be the owner of the file, but the person is allowed to do whatever they need to with the file or folder. You can also set a time limit for until when a specific person can access a file or a folder. So after you share, and I'll show you this, because when I first learned about this, I was like, really? I didn't know we can actually set a limit for how long someone can have access to a file. And this can only be done after you share the file or the folder with the person. So basically what you will do is you click on the user with access and you hover over the right side of his or her email to show a clock icon, then select the expiration date and time. So if you want to share a file with somebody, but you only want to give that person limited view access of that folder for a certain period of time, you can do that as well. So this is, I took a picture of what it would look like. So basically this is, let's say I want to share, I pick the file, I click share, I put the person who I want to share it with, right? And then I pick, do I want it to be the person to be a viewer or an editor? So as an editor, you can organize, you can add, and you can edit the file, right? So Miss Gianni, whenever you asked that question about what happens to your Google Drive. So if there's specific documents in there that you really want to save and they're personal to you, you don't want to get lost, you can either download them, right? Or you can share them to your personal Google Drive by clicking share, and then you would add your email here and click send. Okay. So here is a folder that I have shared with one of my colleagues. So after I shared it with her, when I opened up the actual shared with her, this will happen. I hovered over her name, and when I click on here, I can click whether she has viewer access, right? And then a little clock shows up. And then I can change when I want the access to end and the time. I can remove the expiration, I can close it, I can go back and then change it. It's totally up to you. I just wanted you to know that this option is here in case you really want to control how people access any of your documents. Okay, so the star files and your folders. So I use this option a lot during distance learning in the spring because especially when we had to fill out all those forms, there was a form that we had to fill out every week, you know, to log what we were doing, to track the students. So those important documents, whenever they were shared with me, I would star them because I know I needed to use that specific document every single day for that week. So I always would star that document. For you to be able to do this, basically you would right click on the folder or the file, and then there's an option at the top where it says to start. There's a little star. You would click on it, and then it would end up here in your starred file. Okay, so you can see all of your starred items quickly through if you just click it here. Okay. So I spoke about this earlier, which was the advanced feature. Okay, so if you are looking for a specific file with a keyword that might be found in multiple files, consider using the advanced search feature. So here, this is where you can filter by the type of file, the owner, the location, date modified, shared with, etc. Simply click on the arrow down button located on the rightmost part of the search button, and basically it will give you the options of how you want to search for a file. And I can show you this as well through my Google Drive. So try a numbering system. So if you like to use numbers in your folders, if you put the number at the beginning of your Word, right, it will actually put it in order. So let's say there are folders that you want to put them in order from the most important to the least important. You can do that by numbering them, and it will actually put them in order that way as well. So numbering your files and folders can help you keep your most important folders at the top of your drive, no matter what they are named, right? So because oftentimes Google Drive will sort your folders by how they are named alphabetically, right, from A to Z. But if you want a specific file to be always at the top because it's the most important folder that you have, this is an option for you to actually have it at the top no matter what it is that you named your folder. And adding the number, by adding the number, your classes will appear in order, and you can add a rainbow pattern if you'd like, right? Your Google Drive can really be as customized as you would like it to be. So I just wanted to give you an option of how you can really set it up from important documents and folders to the least important, because Google Drive will actually sort them by alphabetically, usually from A to Z. So I also spoke about this at the beginning, and I like that now all should have the Google Chrome extension for the emojis. So add emojis to your folders. I mean, I gave you an example here. So like for tests, for lessons, for notes, it really gives you like visual cues, and you can teach your students to look for some of these things if you're sharing a file with them as well. But emojis can give you and your students a real visual cue and help emerging and struggling readers as well as English language learners process information by having that visual there for them. And it just, again, you don't have to do this. It's not necessary to set up your Google Drive, but it just adds a little extra fun to your files and your folders whenever you set it up like that. I just think it looks, cute and organized, but it's totally really up to you. You need the emoji extension to be able to add these little emojis to your folder names. So the one thing that I want to really stress here is to leave your share with me alone. Okay, so I know that for those of us that really like things organized, and sometimes I'm at fault as well, because I like to condense a lot of my files in my Google Drive, and sometimes going in the share with me can be overwhelming because there's so many files there. I would definitely leave the share with me alone, and this is why. Basically, your shared with me section of Google Drive is just an aggregation of files that have been shared with you in some way, right? So many users, myself included, might want to clean up this section, but I really advise teachers to just leave the share with me alone, because basically those are not your files. Those were files that were shared with you. And think of it like a feed showing you what files you have access to that are not your own. And sometimes what will happen is if you delete any of those files that are in your share with me, it can often cause problems for you or other users that have created that file. So the best thing for you to do is really not to delete or touch the share with me folder, because the person that created that folder or file and shared it with you, and then you delete it, they might get something happen where it gets deleted from them as well. So I would just advise you to just not delete anything from there. As hard as it can be to want to organize that part of your drive, I would just really leave it alone. So the nice feature about Google Drive is that you have workspaces to organize files without moving them. So at the beginning where you go in your priority, you actually can create a workspace here. So you would click here, and this is where you would put files that you are currently working on, so you can pick up right where you left off. So you would just click here, this button, create workspace, and you would actually add files on there that you are currently working on if you want to access them quickly. So the priority page also organizes files into workspaces. These let you gather a private set of working files for ongoing easy access. Adding files to a workspace doesn't affect their storage location or permissions. It just aggregates files to help you find them faster. So workspaces help you make sure you can get to these files more efficiently. And to build your workspace, you can use Drive's intelligent file suggestions or add files manually. You can also create your own personalized workspaces, collecting any files you have access to, including content stored in My Drive or various team drives. So even you can put on there, if you and a colleague are working together on a document, you can add that to your workspace so that when you click on your workspace, you can easily access it very quickly. So here's another neat trick that I wanted to show you guys, which is to force make a copy, so that whenever you copy a link to something, this would not work if you're just clicking share. You would actually have to copy the actual link, okay? Just like I did here. So you would copy, this is an example of what you get when you copy the link. This is what you would need to do to actually change it, and you would click to copy, okay? So this is what you would need to do. Whenever you want to share a document with someone, and instead of reading your version, you want them to make a copy for themselves. This way they can take notes or modify their file without affecting yours. Okay, so this is really important. And this is, you can do this with Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets. Trust me, I would learn this because you don't want people modifying your things. And this forces it, once they click on that link, it actually forces them, it will automatically prompt them to make a copy. Okay, so instead of sharing a link and telling users to make a copy of your Google Docs or slides, you can customize your link so it forces users to make a copy. They won't even, so when they click on this second link here that you send them, it's going to have a pop-up that says, make a copy onto your drive. It won't even show them the document, right? So they don't even know what yours looks like until they click on the link to say make a copy. So this is really a great way to send stuff to people without having to worry about something happening to yours. It will force them to make a copy of it, right? So the only thing that you would do when you click on the share, you're going to click on copy the link. You have to actually copy the link, and then you're going to add the word copy at the end. So it forces the person to, when they click on the link, it'll automatically ask them to make a copy. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about this?
Yeah, so when you send the link, is it still something you can work on together with your colleague, or is it something they get that copy and then it's their copy? It's not like a working document between the two people.
No, so it would not be a working document between two people. If you want someone to actually collaborate with you on a document, then you would just do share and add that person to your document. Now, if you have created, for example, like a spreadsheet, and you want to share that spreadsheet with the person, but the person wants to modify it to their liking and add a little of their flair to the document, then this is what you would do, you know, to force that person to make a copy of their document, of the document that you're sharing with them, but at the same time, they're able to modify it and change it to their liking without it affecting you. Does that make sense?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So if you want someone to work, for example, if I'm creating Google Slides for my students, and I want them to, my colleague to collaborate with me and help me working on those slides, then when I hit the share button, then I share it with her specifically, and then we both have access to the same exact document. Does that make sense? So this is a great way.
Yes, thank you, Sylvia.
Yeah. So this is a great way if you want to share, documents with people, but, the person wants to customize it, loves your format, loves how you set it up, but they kind of want to make some adjustments to fit the needs of their students. And you don't want it being affecting your copy or your original, then this is the best way for you to do it, because this avoids people having to mess up your document in any way, okay? But collaboration with a colleague is totally different. So this can be used for any of your Google Docs, slides, sheets, anything with Google, okay? So I actually inserted a picture of what it looks like. So now whenever a user clicks on the link, they will see a screen like this, okay? And you can try, you can try the links above. I actually undid it, but I'll show you what it looks like. So basically you get this little picture here, right? Whenever I share a link with you, you're gonna get this and it's gonna say, would you like to make a copy? And you're going to click make a copy, and then you get a copy of whatever I created, and you can change it however it is that you want, and it doesn't affect anything that I did. So this is a great way for, let's say you made a test in Google Forms, and you want to share this with somebody, but the other person wants to modify it because they have special needs students or they have ELLs and they want to add pictures. This is a great way for you to share the actual document, and then the person that you share it with can customize it to fit the needs of their students. I hope that makes sense. So a while back when we first started this, people asked me about deleting files in Google Drive. So this is how you would do it. So you would delete files in Google Drive forever by using these steps. So remember, whenever you delete a file, it's going to go into your trash, and it's still going to live in your trash unless you go to your trash and actually delete the files from your trash. So if you don't delete the files, then they'll still be there in your drive, in your trash can. So first you're going to open up Google Chrome, right? And then you're going to select the file you want to remove, click remove, and then you're going to hit the dustbin symbol to actually put it into your trash can. And then if you want to delete multiple files, you would click on the file you want to delete first, right? Hold down the shift button and then click the last file that you want to delete, and it will highlight all those files all at once. And then you would lastly click the trash to move all of those files to your trash can. So there's no other easier way to do this other than this way. So I went on YouTube to see if there were faster ways to do this, but there was no other way to do it quicker than this here. So that's all I have so far about Google Drive. So does anyone have any questions before I go into my Google Drive?
No, I just want to basically wait until the end because after I viewed all this and see what I have, I really need to touch base with you. So that's my concern. Thanks.
Okay. So let me take you onto my Google Drive.
Excuse me, Sylvia.
Yeah.
Can I ask, when you're going through your drive, would you remind me of how you add emojis to a folder?
Sure, I'll do that. I'll do all of that stuff with you guys. So here is when I open up Google. Everyone can see this. I just want to make sure that everyone can see before I go on, because sometimes when I'm going to a different page, WebEx decides not to show people. Okay, so here's my Google Apps, right? I'm going to click on my Drive. So at the top, you will always have your quick access files that you have been working on, right? So here is all of your options. If I wanted to add a folder or a document or a sheet, so here, I would click this if I want to add a new folder. If I have a file that I want to upload, this would be your Microsoft window, Word or your PowerPoints or a PDF, and you want to save it onto your Drive, you can click this option here so that you would upload a file to your Drive. If there's a specific folder that you have in your computer, right, on your desktop, that you want to upload to your Drive because you want to be able to access it everywhere, I would click here to upload a specific folder to your Drive. This is if you want to open up a doc, sheets, some slides. Here you have more options, okay? So you have your forms, drawings, maps, sites, Jamboard. I actually looked into Google Jamboard. It might be something that we do maybe in September. It's actually pretty cool. It's a whiteboard, and it's very interactive. So maybe that will be one of the first workshops that I will give you in September. Then you have Nearpod, which I will be doing tomorrow. They have actually did a very cool update with Nearpod, and it was funny because I knew that Nearpod was going to release this update yesterday, so I purposely put to do Nearpod tomorrow because the update only happened yesterday, and I wanted to make sure that it was in effect before I provided you with the workshop. So they have made some updates to Nearpod that are actually very cool as well. You have your PDF, your peer deck. So you have all of these options if you go click on more. So that is just from your new, right? Here, this is your Drive when you're here. If I click this in here, the down arrow, it will show me all of the folders. I have a lot. I really need to condense my folders. I have a lot of folders, but here are all of my folders that I have, right? And if I click on any specific folder, right, it'll show me this, show me what I have. If I click here, it will show me the details of my folder, who's the owner, when it was last modified, when it was last opened, when it was created, the activity, like I was showing you before. It tells me exactly who has accessed this folder, right? It gives you everything, what was uploaded, what was edited. So you have everything here, okay? That's a way for you to see. Here is the shared with me. Again, I would not delete any of this because these were files that were shared with you, and you don't want something to happen to the files that were deleted and somebody ends up getting it deleted from their work. This is where I spoke to you about the things that I have been recently working on. My starred is my most important files. Here's my trash, things that are in my trash. If I want to permanently delete things from my trash, I would click the arrow down, and then click empty trash can. So here, as you can see, I have a little person here. That means I have actually have this file shared with other people, right? So for me to change and add, right, stuff to my folders. So let's go back here to my drive. Here are my folders, right? So for me to update a folder or rename it or change it, I would just right click. If I want to change the color, I go here, okay? And then let's say I want it to be pink. It's now pink. If I want to now add an emoji, right? So I'm gonna click my emoji, pick which emoji I want. Let's say I'm gonna get this paper and a pencil. It's gonna copy my emoji. I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna rename it. And it depends on where it is that you want your emoji to go, at the front, at the end, and then you could do Control V to paste. Click OK, and now your folder will have it there. Okay, so if you see as I hover over it, the emoji is there. So I did that for like my screencastify.
Excuse me, Sylvia.
Mhm.
How do you add emojis to your Chrome extensions?
So how do you add the extensions on here? So when you
Add the emojis to your Chrome extensions.
you want to know how I added this here, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there was a document that I share with everyone under, I believe it's in the Google Classroom, if I'm not mistaken, under Google Classroom. It says Google Chrome extensions. And on there, I have all of the Google Chrome extensions that the district has approved. And if you click on the word emoji, it will take you to the link to add the Chrome extension to your computer. And when you add it,
Okay. All right. I'll find it. Thank you.
so let me just be mindful that in order for it to be showing up over here, you have to click, do you see this little extension button here? If you,
Yes.
if you want it pinned to your Omnibox, you need to click this button and actually hit the pin. Because if, for example, right now you see my emoji keyboard extension there, I unpinned it so it's no longer there. So you might be thinking, well, where is my extension? So you have to pin it to your Omnibox if you want it to show up here. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because
Thank you.
no problem. Because if you don't have them pinned, you might be wondering why, why your extensions are not there. I like to have them pinned because I can just easily click the extension without having to go through all of my extensions. Okay, yeah, you can log in, you should be logged in with your school email address if you're doing your school stuff. I'm working from my work computer, so I am using my work email. So here, if you click the more, again, you can change, you can add a file to the starred button. You can view the details. You can download any of the folders, okay? It's totally up to you. Here, this is how you view your Google Drive. This is the grid view. So it will list it like this. If you want it, the other view, click it again, okay? And this is the list, and it will list it. I personally like the list view, but you have the options to change it, right? Just wanted to let you know. Here in your settings, okay, this is where you would go to change the density of your, how your Google Drive is. So here you can change it to cozy. You can change it to compact. I like to leave mine as comfortable, but if you would like to change it, you can change it. Here, if you have any questions about support, you can click here. They will support you. The other thing that I had showed you was to search, right? This is where you would go to search for anything specific, or you don't remember where the document is and you don't want to spend a lot of time looking for things. This is where you would go, right? So let's say you know it's a form that you're looking for. Let's say you're the one that created it. So I'm going to say owned by me. And that's all I really need sometimes. And it's going to show me all of the Google Forms that I have created. Quick and easy. So if I want to do, let me show you something else. Let's say you go back to my drive. I want to do another search for someone, for something that somebody sent to me by a specific person. I would put specific person. I would put their email. So we used to share a lot of our documents. She would send me stuff. And then anything that she has shared with me, that is a slide, it would show up here. Right? So if you know a teacher or an administrator sent you a specific document and you don't want to look through your whole drive to find it because you didn't put it in a folder or it's somewhere on your drive, that's the quickest way to look for something from by a specific person if you know more or less what it is that they sent you. So that's about it as far as Google Drive and kind of getting organized. You can have, here is they're organized by name. Okay, you can organize them by name, last modified by me, or last opened by me. That's another way that you can sort your folders like that. Okay, so that's as far as what you really need to know about Google Drive and kind of getting it organized. It's totally up to you, you know. Oh, and I wanted to show you subfolders. Let me see which one I have. Okay, here is how I did subfolders. So to create a subfolder within a folder, right? So I create a folder for my ESL stuff, is my main folder. And within that folder, I have additional folders. So watch, I have 2 additional folders. So in order to add a folder within a folder, you would just, let me go back and show you. So let's say I wanted to see, hey, let me pick here, my ESL folder. I created a folder. Now I already have 2 subfolders. If I want to add another subfolder, I would click add new folder. It's going to prompt me to name the folder. So I can just say assessments and click create. And then it creates another folder for me, right? So in order to condense how many folders you have, and this is something that I am going to work on to actually try to condense some of my folders, is kind of create a folder that is the umbrella of all the smaller folders. So let's say, especially if we do distance learning for September, or do half and half, or however, we can actually even have folders for like a general folder that says math, and under as the umbrella. And then in the umbrella, we would have smaller folders that kind of breaks it down, maybe like week 1, or work you did for the month of September, October, November, and you can break it down into that. So it's easier to organize your files and kind of like sort your files into different folders so that you don't have files just all over the place. They are actually condensed into a folder. So that's a way that you can do that. And if I made a mistake and I don't want this folder here, I could just click on it and click trash, and it will remove it to the trash can. I think I pretty much told you like what you needed to do as far as your, Google Drive and getting it organized. I need to kind of, like I said, condense some of these folders where I have like the progress reports. I can just have, I'm gonna make one big folder that says progress reports, and under each make smaller folders that will say Q3 reports, Q4 reports, so that everything is in one folder and I don't have 3 various folders or 4 folders. Does that make sense? So that's another way to condense things.
So you're going to separate it as to digital, breaking that apart, and then how about, so it'll just be separated as far as like digital and so forth when you're grading this?
So, I mean, it's totally up to you, but what I like to do is like sort it by the different things that I do. So create a bigger umbrella, and then in that folder have separate subfolders that kind of relate to that subject.
The reason why I ask, because I think that's a good idea. It makes sense technically and organizationally to have something under one umbrella. So I was just asking as a frame of reference. When you do that, you'll still have it as one umbrella, or would it be separate, just like digital, that type of thing, and just your other folders, or just stick everything together?
I like to kind of separate, the folders and kind of let me know. So I think for September, I'm really going to break it down into like even maybe like by months, like what I do in September, things that I do in October, so that I can always go back and say under ESL, I have, all the things that I did for September, I can go into that folder. So I think that's how I'm going to break it up. It all depends on what happens for September, right? So whatever direction they decide to take us will kind of determine of how then I will reorganize my Google Drive.
I think that's excellent, because the more we see that organization really helps us, because the biggest thing for me is getting this drill down so it's accessible, so we don't waste all this time. And I'm just glad you're doing that. That's the only reason why I asked, to give me a little more clarification. Thanks.
Right.
Sylvia, would you
Yes.
do me a favor, please?
Sure.
Could you just kind of review how you can share your document and write on it at the same time? Like if I have a document and I want to share it with my colleague and I want to edit it without messing up the original document. Can you just show me that one step again?
So without messing up the original document?
Well, if they share it with me, in this way I can kind of edit it like I want to, or write on it.
So if she shares it with you, whatever changes, if she or he shares it with you, and you modify it, then whatever changes you make, you're making it the changes to her file as well. So if you don't want that to happen, I would make a copy of whatever she shares with you if she did not share the actual link for you to force you to make a copy.
Okay, so let me ask you this then you answer my question.
Hmm?
How do I just want to go back over the step. How do I share the document even if she makes the changes? She or he?
If
Whatever.
she, can you repeat that question again? I'm
In
sorry.
other words, I want to know, I want you to just review how I can share the document and they can edit it. How do I just do that?
But do you want them to make changes to your document?
Sure, if it's something that I don't mind,
Okay.
if we're doing a grade level meeting or something like that, and I want them to do, okay, I'll make the document, but changes need to be made, and I share it with them. How do I show them to do that?
Okay.
share it with them to
All
do
right.
it.
Sure. Ms. Kuzi, you,
I'm asking you now.
yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that right now. Just let me answer this question too, that it takes 2 seconds. Ms. Kuzi, often the storage that does not count towards your storage if you are creating Google documents that you're sharing with your students to make a copy. It doesn't usually count towards your storage because it's going to be in your shared with me, and it often does not affect the storage that you are using because it's a Google file. So it shouldn't count towards your storage. Okay, so I have a couple of questions to address. So let me address yours first. So if I want to share a document with someone, right? So let's say here, I have this document here. I hope you're able to see it. Are you able to see?
I can see it.
You can see it. Okay. So if I wanted to share it with my colleague and be able to have her edit the document because we are working on this together and we want to kind of like make it so that we modify it to the needs of both of our students or our classes, I would click here, share, right? And then I'm going to click the person I want to share it with. So let's see. Let's say I pick her, one of my colleagues. She's actually on here today. If I want her to be able to edit this document, I would leave her as an editor and then click send. Once I click send, she's going to get an email letting her know that I have shared a document with her, and she will be able to modify the document and help me out, and we can work on it together. We can actually be working on the same document at the same time. That's the great way of sharing and working together on a document. Now, if you just want her to view the document, then you would click view, right? As a viewer and click send. She will only be able to view the document. That's it. If I want, so here, this is where you would change any of the settings, right? If you want to do that. But then I would click send and she would get a copy of this. And if she wants, she can make a copy for herself. Does that make sense? Gail? Gail, did that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
No.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes.
So if the other thing, if I want to force copy, right? Remember how I told you about making the person automatically make the copy, right? I would click this link here. So I need to change it, right? Because I want to make sure that they are being able to edit, right? I need to update it and then click done. I need to copy the link, get the copied of the link, click done, right? And then when I send them the link, I wanted to, let me see, let me put it on a different page. Let me add a page here so I can show you. So let's say here's my link, right? And then I'm going to / and hit copy. So let me show you what it looks like. So that I'm going to copy this link again and share it with the person. So this is that person to make a copy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So those are 2 different ways for you to, or 3 different ways for you to be able to share a document with someone, depending on how you want them to manipulate the document. Okay, so let me just delete this here and let me change this so that, okay. I had another couple of questions here. Okay. Can you save files? Yes, you can save files from your Google Drive onto your laptop or your flash drive. So let's say you're in your Google Drive. I first have to pick the document that I want to download or save. I'm going to click here, those three little buttons. I hope that everyone can see this, so I'll do it again. So the first thing you need to do is pick the document that you want to save or download. So I'm going to click it. It's going to highlight it blue. I'm going to click on these three little dots, which gives you more options. Once you get the more options, sorry, I had to move the camera. You can make a copy or click download. If you click download, it's going to download it into a PowerPoint, right? It's a Google, even though it's a Google slide, it will download as a PowerPoint, okay? And then you can open it if you want, and then you can save it, and then do file, save as, and then you can choose where it is that you want to save the file. Did that answer? I hope that answered that question, Sabina. All right. Other one. I have a classroom folder that is linked to my Google Classroom classes. There's a subfolder template. Do not edit. Can you explain what folder is and how it should be used? I'm not sure, but I believe the do not edit, that is where all of your student work will be found in. So if you actually touch that folder, it will delete any of the work that your students have created and submitted in your Google Classroom. So I would leave that alone. Okay.
Sylvia, but let me ask you a question about student work. If it's last year, like a year before, or last year, the past year, do we still need to keep that on record, even though report cards are already done, progress reports, this was things done, past year and the year before? Do you typically keep it, as a repository in your Google Classroom? Because I'm thinking of cleaning up files, so that way I'll deal with the current students. What do you suggest?
So as long as you're not deleting anything in your shared with me folder, you'll be fine. If it's like 2 years old, you can go and delete it.
Now, what if it's under the storage? I clicked on my storage file and I found a lot of files there from students. Can I delete a lot of things that are in storage?
Yeah, I would delete it. If it's like old, I would delete it.
So basically, every year yourself, you clean up your files the previous year, so that anything current. So my point of reference is how I think is, once the progress reports and report cards for them are done, and we're done for the year, then it's like anything else, we could clean up our files and not worry about student work, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. When considering into an umbrella folder, do you just drag the document into the folders? You can, if the files are here, like for example, Ms. Borges, if you haven't put a file into a specific folder, for example, let's say I pick here, right? It's not going to show you the files. So what you need to do is you actually need to click on the file, and then you're going to click on the word that says move to, right? And then you're going to pick the folder that you want to put it into, and then click the file. So if you know you have subfolders within a folder, you have to click it until you get to the folder you want to place it to. And then you would click move here. Does that help, Ms. Borges?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome. So because once you go into the folders, any files, I have to put these files into a folder. But once you get out of this main page here and you actually go into your actual folders, it deletes any of the files that are there. So this is something that I did with another colleague when we did the summer school letters that went out to the students, here are my different folders that I did. So what we both did is we actually created a folder for each grade level that we had to send out letters to, so that if I go into this folder here, I have all my letters that I sent out for first grade. So let's say my principal reached out and said, can you please send Davi Coutinho his summer school letter again because he didn't get it. And I knew he was in first grade. I go to my folder, summer school. I know he's in first grade. I click first grade and I easily find his letter and I can send it, right?
That's great.
So this is like, a great way for you to find things. You can also, move it to open with, if you want to make it a Google Doc or PDF viewer. So this is and here is where you can manage versions. So this is, if you had worked on it for more than one time and you kept changing the file, you can actually go back and see all of the versions of the document that were there. And you can actually, go back to the original version if that's the version that you liked. So that is where you would go to manage any of the versions that you have of a specific document. But
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. But you have to make sure that you click on the document in order to see the versions. So this is how, you can really, that's how I said about the umbrella. So I created a big folder that says summer school letters. And then under the big umbrella, I have little folders that are specific to the different grade levels. It really comes down to how you want to get yours organized. Okay, another question. When considering, can you share how you created link your TPT account? So automatically, I'm not sure how it linked my TPT account. It automatically linked it to there. So when I came on here, it was already linked. I can try to see if I can figure it out. But when I opened up my drive, it actually created a folder for my TPT purchases. I'm not sure. And yeah, so there are some things in here that I purchased on TPT. So whenever you download anything from TPT that is asking you to make a copy of something, it will automatically create a folder in your Google Drive for TPT purchases. So it automatically did that for me. So whenever I have downloaded anything from TPT that forced me to make a copy into my drive, it automatically created the folder for me. You're welcome. Okay, let's see. If I complete a Google Doc and it automatically save, why do you still need to click on share button? You don't need to click the share button, Miss Gianni, unless you want to share that document with someone. So you will only click the share button if you would like to share your doc, Google Doc with another teacher or an administrator. So you don't need to click share.
So when we were doing our logs, filling in our data, we did that, but then it said share. I didn't need to share it then?
No, you don't need to, because the document was a shared document, so it automatically is shared with the person. That would be, you're always going to have the share button there as an option, right? It's kind of standard to Google and its platform. But let's say you created a document and you wanted to share, then you would hit the share button. But if it's already a document where it is shared between you and other people, you don't need to click share because it is already being shared by everyone.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
no problem. So anyone that goes onto the document or sees the document or that has access to the document will actually be able to have access to it. You don't need to click share. Okay, let's see. I think I had another question about Bitmoji. Let's see. Oh, I created a Bitmoji account using my work email. However, we do not have Gmail accounts associated with your work usernames. I'm running into an issue adding Bitmoji to my Chrome extension. Okay, so my suggestion to you, Michelle, is I would delete the app from your phone and recreate a new account using your personal email account. So that's like the easiest thing for you to do, so that then you should still be able to add the Chrome extension. Even though you haven't created the account, you just won't be able to access the extension until you create the account. But the easiest thing for you to do would be to uninstall and delete the app from your phone and recreate, re-download it again and create it using your personal Gmail account.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay. I think that I answered everybody's questions. Does anyone else have a question?
Yes,
No, I
Sylvia?
just need a few minutes just to talk with you with that, my issue with Google.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yes, Sylvia?
Yes.
I had a question about the slides.
Sure.
I typed it in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. It was like, can you just say your question if you don't mind?
Okay, I'm gonna find it.
Okay. I mean, I can try to look.
Okay, here was the question.
Okay.
I tried a numbering system and I had a folder already named Summer School.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone shared a folder with me that was also named Summer School. And I couldn't give it another name. A number.
You couldn't give it a number.
Right.
So let me see if the ones that are shared with me. So let's see. For example, here, this is a file that was shared with me. I cannot rename because it's not mine. So anything that is shared with you, you cannot rename. You can change the color. That's about it.
Can't change the name and you can't add a number, right?
No. Anything that is shared with you, you cannot change. The only thing that you can add is put it in your stars, or you can change the color of the folder, but that's it.
Okay. Thank you. That helps
Yes.
me because
So
I can change the color at least.
you can change the color. Yes. You can change the color, but that's it. Because the folder was not created by you, you can't change. The only person that would have access to change its name would be the person that actually has is the owner. So the only files that you would be able to really manipulate or folders would be those that you created.
Thank you.
No problem.
Can I ask you another question?
Sure.
You do this every week. In the very beginning of today's presentation, you had these thick square boxes around everything. How do you do that? And how do you put the numbers so that you can basically call them out for the students or the people that are looking? Like in the very beginning, you had like 1, 2, 3, and you were showing us like this part of Google Drive is the
you would have to add that to your presentation by inserting like you can put a picture, an image where you can add it to your Google Slides. I happened to search the web and I was able to find those images to be able to insert them into the Google presentation. So I actually found that, but if I'm here and I can insert and I would have to look for an image and then search the web for an image. Let me see if I find. So here's a number 2 circle. If I wanted this one, I would just click the picture that I wanted, click insert, and then I could drag it over my work if I wanted to. Like I could put it over something.
Okay, that's a lot of work though.
It is. It is. So like, this is why sometimes it's like putting together these presentations takes a long time.
Yeah, they could be so time consuming, and it's just
Yes.
like, it's just one of many that we're doing.
Yes.
You know? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So that's what you do.
Yeah.
I always wondered, how did you get that 2, that 3? So you literally have to put a number for every image.
Yeah, you would have to like search, and sometimes it's like you'll find things in the web where you can copy an image and add it to your slide that already have numbers, but it does take a long time to put these presentations together.
Yeah.
Make them so detailed.
And then you're basically layering on top of each other, right?
Yeah.
So you're sitting there resizing and resizing over and over again.
Right. You can.
Oh, wow.
So like even when I add arrows to presentations, like I'm currently working on a parent guide for Google Classroom so that parents can really understand how to check their student work, because a lot of the times parents have, that excuse, well, they submitted it. I'm basically trying to, put something together so that the parents can really understand the steps on what they need to do to check their child's work.
Sylvia, that sounds like a nice document.
I was just
I'm going to say, boy, oh boy, would you mind sharing that one?
Everybody's like rubbing their hands, hoping you would share that.
So once, it will be translated hopefully into 4 languages, Spanish, Portuguese, and French. So that, it will be shared with everybody once it's approved by the union. So right now it's something that I was tasked to do.
So are we going to add English and maybe?
So it's English, so it will definitely be in 4 languages: English, Portuguese, Spanish, and French, which is the majority of the languages that we have in our district. So we're trying to at least get the 4 major languages. So definitely all of those. And then
So when is the deadline to make sure it gets, what are they looking at the end to? Another couple of weeks from now, or?
No, I mean, I already created the English version. I'm waiting for them to kind of approve it, and then I'll work on translation. So hopefully within the next week or so, we'll be getting something like that people can then have access. It should be able to, so the parents can really know how to access Google Classroom with pictures.
Will you add it onto our site, meaning what we're distance learning as a?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So once let me everything's approved, I should be able to share that with you guys.
Sorry, Sylvia, it was such a good resource. I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, so it takes a long time to put these things together, to add arrows, to add images, to add, so it really takes time. So sometimes if I don't answer an email right away, there's like a lot of things that I have been working on, trying to really get prepared for September as well, to really help with the parents and make sure that everybody understands things. So
thank you. We'll
be doing that. And then Yolanda, do you want to share your concerns since we're on? I don't know if anybody needs to leave. If you don't have any more questions, I want to be mindful of your time. So if you do need to leave, I appreciate you coming on. If you need to stay and wait to hear what Yolanda has to say, maybe it does help you as well. So you're more than welcome to stay. I'll stop sharing my screen, Yolanda, if you want to share yours.
Yes, I'll do that. Because I feel that I was listening to the whole presentation, and yet I personally was having difficulties the way my Google Drive was set up. And that's why I had a concern, because I'm trying to get it organized. So let me go to screen. Okay, sorry about that. Go to screen and I'm putting share. Okay. I don't know if you could see. Could you see my screen or?
Yeah, I see myself.
Okay, what is going on here? Because I did
have it in playback. So click on My Drive.
Okay, hold on. That would help, right? That would help. Okay, here. Could you see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay, so what I was noticing on your screen, see, here are all my, how I have the, what do you call those?
The
Little,
bookmarks.
the bookmarks, but I have all of the little, I'm trying to remember, what was the name that you had called these?
Extensions.
Yeah, okay, all of these are the extensions.
Yep.
Okay, now I noticed in your group, you had the extensions, but underneath here, yes, I had search my drive, my question mark, my settings, my grid. Okay, but then under here, I noticed here, see, there's a grid pattern here, grid view, and it says view details. Now, I never really fixed my drive. So what you're seeing here is something that was just left, and I just kept working and working, but never really structuring it. So here, I noticed you had the same thing. You did have new priority my drive shared with me and all this on the side. But my concern is putting this whole sheet in folders to organize it, because here I am, I'm in my drive. So here I was trying to right click, and I said, okay, I can't right click here because I was trying to, do what you were doing. And I'm saying, how am I going to, I'm trying to create these folders. And if you notice, this says here, quick access. I don't think I saw yours that said quick access.
Mine has the same exact thing. So the quick access is your most recent folders are there as well. So if you click this little box that has like the 6 little boxes there, click on
grid over here.
Yep.
Okay, I'm clicking it.
So so now you have your folders. Do you see
now,
how it looks?
Okay, the folders are here, and this is, in other words, this is a lot of old stuff and it's a mess. So it's almost like this is not the way I want it set up at all. But this is what was opened and so forth. So how do I fix? It says here, what it has here saying reverse sort. So if I do this, it's just sorting the folders that I have presently. But again, I have to go to each. Do I have to go to each folder and then fix the color code on here? Like if I right click?
Right. You would, if you right click, you can change it and rename it.
Okay. So then if I just, for example, put this in blue. Okay. Now it's in blue and I could, so my question is, some of these things are old. I don't even want these things here. So
you can delete it.
So I could just delete.
Yeah. You can click on the folder. You click on the folder first.
All right. And then right click and then press delete, remove.
You can click the trash can up top. Do you see the trash can up top? No, without.
Oh, I see. Then go here and go up here.
And then go there and you remove it.
All right, I'm doing that now. So then I'm just going to, then I see what you're saying. As I go on, I would have to look at, see, but then this has like, now what do I do? It's like tons of this because I never, I didn't have that sense. So what we used to, is there any shortcuts to really clean this up? Because right now, okay, go ahead. Now, should I leave you alone so you can drive or what?
So you might need to, you'll have to stop sharing so I can share my screen.
All right, but what's frustrating me here is exactly what I want to see here, where everything is in a file like you had it, all color coded. And right now, look at this mess.
Well, because you have all those files there, right? And then you have you have your folders and then all these files that don't belong anywhere that you either delete or then put into a folder.
Right. And since I was so busy, I figured, hey, that's the last of my worries. Let me just get everything done. But now I'm trying to clean it up. So I'll stop sharing. This is my dilemma because you said I'm leaving this alone. Okay. So I'm reviewing what you're saying because I want to leave out of here where I am Share with me, leave it alone.
Right.
My drive, I clean it up. Priority, no, I know.
Is what you have that this is where like you would have your most recent, and if you want to create a workspace where you would add files that you want to come here, and these are your priority files that you're working on right at this minute.
Okay, so then it says create workspace. So my question is, this is where I get confused. I'm in my drive. These are the files that I have. I'm organizing it. I know I can't touch this, and yet I'm going to priority. I click on create workspace. Am I making a copy from my drive and putting it into the workspace?
It's just the same exact file. It's just in a different location. It's just for easy access. You don't, if it confuses you, I wouldn't even create a workspace. You don't need to, because your most recent files that you have just opened, whenever you go to my drive, will always appear at the top.
And these are my recent files. So
your
when I
recent
go
files as well.
now, what do I do here? In a sense, do I go and treat this the same as my drive and create similar files?
So those files should also appear in your drive as well.
So once I clean up my drive,
you should see this.
It should reflect under a recent.
Right.
All right, and then, but then I get confused. You said start is what's important to me, but yet priority is what's important to me. So what's the difference between start, or oh my goodness, this week I'm doing this to start, I'm putting it here, and what's the difference between that and priority?
Well, because especially if somebody has shared a document with you, you don't really have access to that document. It would be in your shared with me file, right? So let's say your administrator has shared a document that she wants you to fill out every single day for that week. You're going to start that document, because if not, you have to go through your share with me and look through all your share with me files to look for that one file. You understand?
So then, no, I hear what you're getting at. So then anything where it's faculty meetings or things I need to respond to the administrators, I should leave it stored here in a file, because in a way it says shared with me, but I don't want it there. I'd rather have it here because this is something I need to attend to, let's say once a week, or so I see what you're saying.
Really important, right? That it was shared with you. You want to make sure that you have easy access to it. Like I said, a lot of the times I start a document when a teacher shared something with me, and I started it because I wanted to make sure that I had easy access to it without having to go through my files or doing an advanced search to look for the file. So
but isn't that similar to shared with me though?
So you can go to the shared with me, but if I star a file, then that means I can have, I go to my starred, usually in my starred file, I don't have more than 4 or 5 documents. Right?
I see what you're, okay, now I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
You can easily access that one document that you needed to access right away.
All right, so this is overall shared with me, fine, but I don't go to it all the time, and maybe, but then start is, wait a minute, this is important, but it's administrators, and I have to make sure that I have that information and I'm not deleting it, because inadvertently some of it may be shared with me. So it's important. And then, all right, I get it. I get it. Now I'm gonna get out of my I'm sorry, is somebody talking?
I think somebody's muted. Hold on, I'm gonna mute everybody.
Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is, now that I have some clarification, because you could see, look at the mess. This is like going to somebody's house and seeing their dirty. So it's like, oh my goodness, so humiliating. But anyway, that's what I wanted you to look at to help me. So now I am going to unshare, stop sharing. And then if we could, what'll help me is.
So I'll tell you how to delete the files quicker.
Right, good, thanks. I'm gonna put stop share.
No problem. So if you are in your Google Drive and you have a ton of files that you just want to delete very quickly, the easiest way for you to do all of this is this way. Let me show you. Okay, so here's my screen. So here's my drive. Okay, so there's really no really quick way of doing this. So let's say I want to delete. I'm not going to actually delete all of this, but I'm going to show you how to do it because I don't want to delete these files. But let's say I want to delete from this file to all the way to here. So I click the first file that I want to delete. I hold down the shift button. I'm going to scroll down to where I want it to stop, right? This is the last file I want to delete. I'm going to hold the shift button, click, and now it's highlighted all of these files. And then I would just click trash. So that's the quickest way for you to do it.
Well, that's simple enough. Thanks so much.
So,
and going back up, I just wanted you to show me your drive.
So let me just go over the steps again. So you click the file you want to delete, the beginning of the files that you want to delete, scroll down to the end of the files that you want to delete. And then before you click the last file, hold the shift button. As you're holding the shift button, click the last file. And as you can see, it has now highlighted all of the files from here to here. And then I just click delete the trash can and it will remove all of the files.
So it's control, the first file, shift at the last file, and then trash.
So not control. You're going to click the first file.
Right.
Scroll down until the last file that you want to delete. Scroll, hit the shift button, click the last file that you want to delete, and then it highlights all those files.
Okay.
And then you click the trash.
All right. Got it.
I don't want to click trash because I don't want to change those files.
Right.
Sylvia, I'm trying that. It's not working.
So you're going to click the first file.
I did that.
Okay, now scroll to the last one, but don't click anything yet.
Right.
Okay, so you're going to scroll, you're going to hit shift, then hit the file. You don't see mine highlighting blue?
I do see that, but mine is not highlighting.
Okay, excuse me. You have the first file, you press down your shift key. Click on the first file that you want to begin to be deleted. Then the shift key down, scroll down to your last file that you want, and then everything will be highlighted.
Working.
Okay, so I'm confused as well. How many files are we creating? You don't have to create any files. It's totally up to you as to how many files you want to create or folders you create, right? So for example, you can have a folder that says a folder for reading, a folder for math, a folder for social studies, a folder for science. It's really up to you how many folders you want or how many folders you don't want to add to your Google Drive. Does that, Patricia, does that answer your question? Because I know that you said you were confused.
Yes.
So it's really up to you. Like I have all of these folders, but that's what works for me, right? You might just have 5 folders in your Google Drive. You can eliminate the folders and really only have 5. And then within those 5, you can have subfolders. It's really up to you. Like if you like to create a different folder for everything that you do, it's up to you. You'll just have more folders.
Okay, because I know I had I had math, I had language, I had general science, social studies, I had science, and each day I create whatever I'm teaching for that day with the dates and whatever the topic is. So that's how I have kept mine. I don't know if that was okay or I needed something more.
No, you can have as little or as many as you want. Remember, this is your Google Drive, so you really have to customize it in a way that is going to work for you and that is easy for you to understand and easy for you to find files. Like you don't even have to create folders, right?
Okay.
But I wanted to give you a way to kind of have your Google Drive in an organized way that can really be easier for you to access your files.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? No problem. Does anyone, Gladys, does that answer your question, or are you still confused as far as the Google Drive?
Yes, I wanted to know if we had to make new ones or use our old ones.
So we're continuing to use whichever ones we have that is related to our work email. So whenever we work or do things for school, we are continuing to use the drive that was assigned to us through NPS.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Does anybody else have any other questions before we go?
If I have any more questions, I'll probably just send you an email on the NTU.
Yeah.
And, but thanks so much, because I have to work on this, because I feel like I have a mess that I have to fix, and I want to fix it, because once I do that, because everything that we've been taught, like Screencastify, all that, I want it all in folders, that it makes sense. Thanks so much.
No problem. So I'll let Lisa, if you wanted to convert your picture to Bitmoji.
Yes, I finally got my picture, so I'm just not clear on how to get it converted to a Bitmoji.
Oh, so you wanted your Bitmoji, so like how I have my Bitmoji as my picture? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, because you have to have your own picture, and then that gets converted to a Bitmoji?
No, like I used my Bitmoji as my picture.
That's what I'm trying to do.
So like when, hold on, let me see if I share my screen. So when I'm on here in the Google Classroom, I had actually listed how to change your Google profile picture. Did you see this, Paulette?
Yeah, you know what? I did see it, and I was trying. I got that far. Yes, I actually got the picture.
Okay.
My picture, and then I seem to have some issues then going from my picture to, I guess, the Bitmoji.
Okay. So if you want to add your Bitmoji, so what I would do is I would open up a Google slide, right?
Okay.
A blank presentation. Okay. And then you can either delete the theme or make it a blank document. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click your Bitmoji.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. And let's say I want to have this one. I'm going to copy my Bitmoji, paste it onto here, right? And then I'm going to download this file as a JPEG.
All right, I got you. Thank you.
Okay, and then just follow the steps for you to, change the picture.
Okay.
Now that the file is saved as your Bitmoji, the Bitmoji is saved as a JPEG, you will be able to use your picture, your Bitmoji as your picture.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Sylvia.
Yes.
My question is about the Bitmoji. I have the extension, but I thought you said we can't use the Bitmoji unless you create a personal account.
Yeah, so I personally used my personal account to create my Bitmoji.
Okay, but so you have to first create, that's where I'm still a little lost.
Okay,
you have to create the Bitmoji on your cell phone.
Yes, so you have
then
to
you have to what? What you give your personal email and then give it. I'm still lost with that. I'm not sure how to do that.
Okay, so
you say you download it from your iPhone or your phone, whatever phone you have. And then how do you get it to your PC? That's what I'm saying. Do you email it or what? I have the.
So let me explain. So the first thing you need to do is set it up on your phone, which would be to download the app, right? So you would go to your app store and download the Bitmoji. I believe Samsung has the app for Bitmoji, and Apple does as well. So once you download the app, it's going to prompt you to sign up for an account. Well, you can either sign up for an account using Snapchat or using your email, right? So that's the first thing you need to do. Download the app. And then when you click on the app, it's going to prompt you to say, you want to sign up for an account using Snapchat or with an email. You're going to pick the email option, okay? Once you set up your account and you're logged in, you're going to need to create your avatar on your phone, okay? Once you create your avatar, that's set up. You don't need to do anything else from your phone. The next thing you need to do is you're going to need to come here to your computer. You can go to the Google Classroom where I have, let me show you where it is, where it says, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's under Google Classroom. Yes, under Google Classroom, you have the Google Chrome extensions. You're going to open the document, okay? When you open the document, you're going to click on the Bitmoji. It's going to take you to the extension. Now, I already have this extension, so for me, it's going to say remove from Chrome. For you, you should have the option to add. It should say add to Chrome. You're going to click here, all right? It's going to add it to your extension. Now, remember, I said at the earlier today that your Chrome extensions are going to live here under this button. For you to ensure that they appear and that they're visible, you're going to need to make sure that you hit the pin to make sure they appear at the top. Does that make sense, Gail?
I follow you, except for I have, like I said, it's not that part where you are on the PC, on the computer. It's the part with the iPhone. When I did try it, it just was not working for me.
So
it just not working for me. It's just not working for me. But I won't take up any more of your time. It's just not working for me. I tried it, but it didn't work.
So when you went to your app store, did you search for Bitmoji?
I did that. I downloaded it and everything. I to the point where I did put in, but I put in you said I have to put in my personal. I put in the board. I think
So
my
if
board,
you
I put in my board email address. I mean phone email. I put in the board email.
What I would do is uninstall the app and reinstall it and install it with using your personal Gmail account.
And there's another problem. There's so many, which ones that I have to pick. I didn't know which ones of the Bitmojis I need to pick.
Okay, so I'll show you. I'm going to go on my phone to show you what it looks like. So that maybe, so it's, I don't know if you can see. Oh, it's probably not very visible. Can you see that? No? So it's the very first one that you see. So it looks exactly like the Chrome extension.
All right, thanks. I will try.
Try. If not, I can take a picture from my phone and see if I can send it to you in an email.
Okay.
It's like, so basically the one on your phone is exactly the same picture that is over here for the Google Chrome extension. So you look for the icon that has this picture, and that's the one you should download. But I would definitely uninstall it and make sure that you install it with using your personal Gmail account.
And then once I install it with my personal account, then I have I put on the extension up there.
Mm-hmm.
So
once you go here, when I click on my extension, it's going to ask if I sign out of here, right? Let me show you.
If you signed out?
I'm going to show you what you should see when you sign in for the first time. Let me just respond to this comment. Okay, so I was just asked a question about certificates and sign-in sheets. So you can only get credit for coming and get a certificate if you actually attended a live class. So if you did not attend a live class and you watch the replay or the videos, then unfortunately we cannot give you a certificate. Okay.
Cynthia, how do you attend the live class?
I'm sorry?
How can I attend the live class?
So how you're doing it right now. So this is a live class, right? So through WebEx, if you came in, logged in, and actually attended the WebEx with me, then you would, and you did the sign-in sheet, you will automatically get a certificate for participation. Now, if you are watching the replay, then unfortunately you cannot get a certificate.
So this is what, a replay or? No,
this is a live class.
Okay, so I can get a certificate for this.
Well, yeah, if you make sure that you do the sign-in sheet.
Where is the sign-in sheet?
It's in the Google Classroom.
Oh, I've been attending and I've not been signing anything. I did not have to sign something.
Yes, so I'll show you that in a second. Let me just answer Gail's question.
Okay.
So if Gail, if I was to log off out of here, when you click the Bitmoji extension, it's going to say have Bitmoji log in with Snapchat or log in with your Bitmoji account, right? So you would put in your email and the password to create your Bitmoji account on your phone. You understand?
Yes, I do. I hear you.
Okay. All right. So for those of you that are new to the WebExes and have not participated before, the attendance sheet is going to be in the Google Classroom up until, you're welcome, Jeannie. Have a great day. Stay safe.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. The attendance sheet will be in our in the Google Classroom up until the end of today, until 11:59 tonight. So if you are not part of the Google Classroom and you have not joined the Google Classroom, the first thing that you would need to do is actually join the Google Classroom. This is the Google Classroom code. I will put it into the chat. So if you have not joined or not part of the Google Classroom, you're going to join first. You're going to put the code LQ4JZFT to join. And when you join, you're going to go to the main page, okay, the stream, and the attendance sheet is going to be here on the left-hand side, okay? You're going to click here. It's going to take you to a Google form. Okay, you're going to click on the form and you're going to fill in the information and click submit. So this is the only way that I know that you have attended because it's hard for me to keep track of 72 people. So it's important that if you attended this live WebEx, that you come onto the Google Classroom and that you fill in the attendance sheet.
So I find this in the email that was sent, right?
Yes. So you will not, I'm not sure if Mike Malaro put in the code for the Google Classroom. So in order for you to join my Google Classroom, just go on to Google, click on Google Classroom, click the plus sign, okay, and then you're going to click join class. And then you're going to put the class code that I just gave you.
Go to Google from NPS website.
Or just go to google.com.
Okay. Okay.
So the code is LQ4JZFT, right?
So I'll do it. You're welcome, Laura. So the code is LQ4JZFT.
Yeah, I see.
Okay. And that's where you will find any of the past workshops that I have done, all of the Google slides that I have presented to each and every one of you from past workshops. They are all there for you to see. So the best thing for you to do is really to sign up for.
And I've been attending. I didn't know I have to sign.
Yeah.
And if I come in tomorrow, I have to do the same thing. Go to the process.
Yep.
Okay.
The attendance sheet will be there. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Please stay safe. It's supposed to be a very bad storm out there today. So I hope everyone stays safe, and I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you so much, Sylvia. Appreciate your work.
Be safe.
Thank you, Sylvia. Chair.
So much.
Bye.